Holy smokes, guys. Last night's debate was absolutely eye-opening. It was both hilarious and shocking. It was entertaining, and depending on what side of the aisle you're leaning towards, you either think Trump won or you think Kamala absolutely crushed it. But one thing that I think everyone is kind of in agreement on is that the American people are the ones who lost. So let's talk about it. This video is going to be broken up into really three primary sections. The first one is fact checking because ABC did an absolutely horrendous job of fact checking Kamala Harris yesterday, but they did a pretty good job of fact checking Trump, although they were heavily biased. And we're going to talk about all of that. And the second portion is going into public opinion from both experts as well as normal people, as well as even people who are swing state voters who are just concerned and they're sitting on the fence. So that's going to be great. And we're also going to talk about the aftershock that is in the polls. How did the debate actually fluctuate the polls? Because now the polls are more volatile than ever. So we're going to talk about all of this. So without wasting any more time, let's get into it. And also, real quick, if this is one of the spaces that you use to consume your news or to hear some commentary, I really suggest that you subscribe and maybe hit the bell so you don't miss one of these videos. And I make these videos nearly every day, so that's so fun. And make sure to like this and share it if you want. Okay, so let's talk about late term abortion specifically, because that was kind of a heavy topic that was shared yesterday by Kamala Harris. And she was suggesting that late term abortions simply do not happen in this country, which is utterly false. But it's not good enough for me to just tell you that it's false. Let's actually talk about what really happens in normal American states. So, check this out. This woman is about to call a clinic and say, "Hey, I want to have a late term abortion. Is it possible?" Watch this.
We're going to call the abortion facility and I'm going to tell them I'm pregnant with a 32-week fetus, as you say. Hi, I just turned 32 weeks pregnant. Am I able to come in for an abortion ASAP?
I wouldn't be able to see you till the week of the 23rd, so that would put you at 34 weeks.
Can I still have an abortion at 34 weeks?
Yes, ma'am. I just have to do an intake form. Do you have about 5 minutes?
Sure, I have 5 minutes. Yeah, I just found out that she could have Down syndrome. I can still have the abortion, right, even though she has Down syndrome?
Yeah, so we just have to do an intake because the doctor.
It doesn't fucking matter.
That's late-term abortion, ma'am. That's
Late-term-
abortion in the 8th month of pregnancy. That's discriminatory based on someone's genetic code. She just confirmed she would commit an abortion on me with my child who's viable and can live outside the womb.
And again, these are, man, that's such a hard video to watch. But again, these are like the primary arguments that people have, saying, "Oh, well, if it's not viable outside the womb, then abortion's okay." That's their argument for the most part. And but the left, for the most part, doesn't care. They are completely for having no defined limits on abortion. And look at this. This is according to Axios. The question is, how late into pregnancy abortion is legal? So again, Kamala Harris last night said that, because Trump said she wants to do a federal abortion regulating that would allow all states to do late term abortions up to 9 months, right? Which again, most people are in agreement is murder. But Kamala Harris said there's no state in this country that allows late term abortions at month 9. That's wrong. Look at this. Look at all these grays. No defined limits. This is what's happening right now. This is crazy. I just saw that a senator in New Mexico was even responding to this, saying Kamala Harris lied. In my state of New Mexico, there are no defined limits, and someone who is about to give birth could have an abortion. Someone who is already dilating. That's absolutely wild. And look at this. There's even other creators who are saying, like Keith Edwards, who I watch occasionally. He says no such thing as late term abortion, but Kamala did just murder a 78-year-old baby. That would be funny if it were true, but it's not. Even look at this. Look at this video. This person is on the phone with an abortion clinic, and this speaks to how rare the circumstances are or how common they are. You tell me after you watch this, if it wants to load. Let me just refresh this page. Also, many of you guys don't know, these videos are pretty much shot in a one take, but look at this. I'm only going to play the last like 15 seconds, but I put all the media that I use in the description if you want to watch any of these clips completely. But yeah, here it is.
We specialize in later trimester care. Our doctor is very well versed in what he's doing, and he's very good.
So I'm not like a rare situation. Y'all help women this late in pregnancy all the time.
All the time.
There you have it. The abortion clinic themselves say all the time when speaking about a late-term abortion. This clinic specializes in late-term abortions. And again, the fact checking says, according to AP, look at this. Trump also falsely claimed that some Democrats want to execute the baby after birth in the 9th month of pregnancy. But again, you see, that's not true. We see this happening today. We see this happening right now all across the country, and it's really sad. So the next thing I wanted to discuss in this fact-checking spree is Jules Chirpak. Last night, we also talked about this on the stream, but last night she wrote, Democrats really need to stop with all the Project 2025 talk. If you watched the debate, you would know that Kamala Harris brought this conversation up a lot. In her opening statement, she said, oh, you're going to hear so much lying. And it's like, ma'am, that was you. Okay. So shush. And throughout the entire 90-minute debate, you've heard her talk about Project 2025 endlessly, even whenever President Trump said, no, that's not me at all. That's not my platform at all. And she went on to say, to clarify, I think it was really solid for about a month, but it's exhausted at this point, especially because Trump's response has been the same unamused one-liner. And again, it's unamused because it's not true. It's not him. Okay. Even Anna Mattson was discussing this too. She said there's plenty to criticize Trump about, but Project 2025 is reaching. And look at this. The Harris campaign believes if they say it enough, people will believe it. Have you guys gotten any of those Project 2025 ads? I get them all the time. They were so bad, I finally had to get YouTube Premium so I could stop seeing them. And it's wild. Okay, so the next thing I wanted us to talk about is Kamala Harris on taking people's guns, because last night she was clear. She was saying, I'm a gun owner. All right, me and my VP, we're both gun owners. Of course, you're not going to take people's guns. Look at this.
Everyone's guns away. I've made very clear my position on fracking. And then this business about taking everyone's guns away. Tim Walz and I are both gun owners. We're not taking anybody's guns away. So stop with the continuous lying about this stuff.
All right. I think that was such a good soundbite. Okay. And again, you're going to hear me praise that. I think Kamala Harris did a really good job in speaking in one-liners and speaking in sound bites. I believe she spoke with clarity, and I think she was very sympathetic, and she's really playing onto people's emotional responses, given her whole mama love vibe thing. And I think that's cool. If people like that energy, like that mentality, I think that's great. She's speaking to a wide audience there. But none of this lands with me personally whenever it's not true. Okay, you need to be both. And there's words and then there's actions. Ideally, a strong communicator has both. Okay, so look at this.
We need an assault weapons ban. These are reasonable things to do. We need an assault weapons ban. Let us finally pass an assault weapons ban. We need an assault weapons ban. I do believe that we need to do buyback. I'm prepared to take executive action.
Oh, wow, sorry.
And put in place a ban on the importation of assault weapons into our country. Well, there are approximately 5 million, to your point, Craig. We have to have a buyback program, and I support a mandatory buyback program. I support buybacks.
How mandatory is your gun buyback program?
It's mandatory. And together, when we win in November, we are finally going to pass universal background checks, red flag laws, and an assault weapons ban. We'll finally pass red flag laws, universal background checks, and and an assault weapons ban. Will finally pass universal background checks, red flag laws, and an assault weapons.
So again, these are her words here. Okay. So her saying that she never had any intention of taking people's guns, like, ma'am, enough with the gaslighting. These are your words. Are you going to say that this person isn't you? And now, again, you could say that you changed your mind, but to say that enough with this lying, you are gaslighting the American public. And I just, I don't take it. Okay, enough with the lying. Speaking on lying, Tim Pool shared this today, and this leads us to the next fact checking part about what's happening in Springfield, Ohio. Again, President Trump, he probably didn't say this in the most eloquent way. I don't know how you could say this in an eloquent way, but Tim Pool says he's lying. The media already told me it's not happening. And here's my position, to be frank. My position is, if you go ahead and you call the city manager, of course they're going to try to make their city sound great. And I don't think you should be getting answers from that type of elected official and while completely ignoring people who are on the ground. I think that's journalistic integrity. Get on the ground, see what's actually happening in the city, like this man here. Look at this. This is a real life account of what is happening.
We've lost a whole bunch of cats. There was a van pulled over that had over 100 cats in it with the Haitians. They said they was eating them.
Actually?
Yeah.
Not fake news.
Not fake news.
So a van was collecting cats and eating them.
I watched it happen, yeah. Watched them get pulled over with the cats and admit to the police that they was eating them.
You're not joshing with me.
No, I'm almost 50 years old, buddy. No.
You don't mess around.
No.
There you go. This man here talking about that he saw it happen. Okay. He saw over 100 cats with Asians. They were collecting them, they were eating them. He told the police about it. This is real. So, again, I'm not saying, like, oh, yeah, believe every person who says something on the street. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that for a network like ABC to completely disregard real people's experience in a city, this is their town. Okay. And you don't think they know what's happening? Like, are all these people just completely delusional and they don't know what they're talking about? Are all these people just hallucinating? Are all these people just crazies? I'm going to say no. I'm going to believe people. And so to see ABC completely walk over this was really disrupting to me. So this leads us to the next one, because Kamala Harris in a statement said, or actually this was President Trump. President Trump said transgender operations on illegal aliens in prison. Okay. And Kamala Harris just didn't even acknowledge it. Okay. This wasn't fact checked by ABC and it was just completely looked over. But what did Kamala Harris actually say? So this is her talking about her experience in California and what she's actually done.
When I was Attorney General, I learned that the California Department of Corrections, which was a client of mine, I didn't get to choose my clients.
Right. A client of the Attorney General.
A client of the Attorney General,
Right.
of the Office of Attorney General, that they were standing in the way of surgery.
For prisoners.
For prisoners. And there was a specific case. And when I learned about the case, I worked behind the scenes to not only make sure that that transgender woman got the services she was deserving. So it wasn't only about that case. I made sure that they changed the policy in the state of California so that every transgender inmate in the prison system would have access to the medical care that they desired and need. And I believe it was not only, I know it was historic in California, but I believe actually it may have been one of the first, if not the first in the country, where I pushed for that policy in a Department of Corrections.
Wow. So again, Time magazine shared this, saying that President Trump claimed that Harris wants to do transgender operations on illegal aliens in prison. And they're saying that to make him out to be some sort of nuts. Okay. And this is where the drama even goes a bit further. At the bottom, there's a correction saying the original version of the story mischaracterized as false. Donald Trump's statement accusing Kamala Harris of supporting transgender operations on illegal aliens in prison as a presidential candidate in 2019. Harris filled out a questionnaire saying she supported taxpayer-funded gender transition treatment for detained immigrants. That's what they're saying. This was because of a questionnaire. Well, you just saw this video. Kamala Harris, this isn't just a questionnaire. This is Kamala Harris just spitting this out. This is coming directly from her. So for her to not acknowledge it, for her for Time Magazine to say that this is false, again, this is just one of the things that Trump had to go up against last night. And it's so sad to see. And again, both sides of the aisle missed their mark. People are accusing Trump for saying he could have been better at representing the conservative party. He could have done more. He could have spoken more about make America healthy again. He could have spoken more about the issue of chronic disease. And you know what? You're absolutely right. At the end of the day, he didn't. And at the end of the day, Kamala Harris could have been better too. A lot of people are critiquing her about not speaking up enough about policy and just saying a bunch of feely good words. So we're going to get into that later. But I love this person's reaction to the debate because her position is like who won or who lost, Trump or Kamala. I'm going to say the American people lost. So check this out.
Okay, I don't know whether this is a popular or unpopular opinion, but I don't think anybody won that debate last night. Biggest losers coming out of that circus was the American people. Trump took the bait, allowed his anger to lead his statements. That's his Achilles heel. Kamala, to literally nobody's surprise, did nothing but lie the entire time. And I'm embarrassed that the American people can't get a solid debate between two potential leaders because the moderators are doing half the debating themselves. Must have missed the memo that this was a 3-verse-1, fact-checking Trump 5 times and then failing to fact-check Kamala on late-term abortion, border security, January 6th, Project 2025, fracking, the fact that we don't have any active service members in a combat zone. That is a very bold-faced lie. Journalism been rotting in the grave for a while now, so
Wow.
dead can't even smell it. There's only one person that was on that stage that is sending $40 million a week to the Taliban, but that's okay though, right? Who cares about funding terrorism, a weakened national security, tanking economy, when the DEI hire is sending the joy in the vibes? Trump isn't perfect, but he offers us a little bit more than a cackle. And at the end of the day, we have a man that is despised by the machine, wrestles with it at a great personal cost, and a woman that is selected, groomed, and fully supported by the machine. Choose your pick.
Wow. There you go. I love that. Trump isn't perfect, but at least people actually believe what he's saying. Trump has problems, but at least he owns his problems. Trump has a mess, but at least he owns his mess. And Kamala Harris is out there saying, what mess? All is good. All is righteous. No, you're lying to the American people. You're lying to the American public. And again, I'm not going to stand for it. Also, if I didn't make it clear, now we're on the public opinion the sector of this video, and here we have Kennedy giving his first thoughts on the debate.
Fortunately, we had moderators who were clearly biased, who were constantly fact-checking Donald Trump. None of these kind of whoppers that the vice president was saying, and none of her failure to really explain that, answer that first question, that very, very critical first question. They simply sat there on the sidelines and allowed that to pass.
I am in complete agreement. Yes, the moderators were completely biased. That was part of the reason this first, half of this video existed. But also, he did miss the jump on that first question, right? A lot of people said he started off strong. I would have agreed with that, but he could have created more impact with this. Like, is the economy better? Is the average American better off than they were 4 years ago? Most people are going to say no, right? There's almost no evidence to suggest that the average American is better off. Yet, the machine is wanting you to think that they are. We are up against a machine here. Look at this. Cigar from Breaking Points says, in my opinion, the moderators were a disaster and ridiculously biased in favor of Kamala. The problem is that complaining about the refs will come across as cope when the candidate also missed significant opportunities and took every bait offered by the opponent. Whenever we were watching the debate live on stream, so many people were saying, she's baiting him, she's baiting him, she's baiting him. Rewatch that if you haven't seen it yet. I believe the experience that we had here on this channel was really, really great. It was so much fun. I love doing those experiences with all of you guys. And also someone is saying that he took the bait and that he was angry. My question was he coming across more angry or was he coming across more passionate? From my perspective, I think he was he's so disturbed by the current state of this country that all of this was out of his passion, right? But unfortunately, some people are thinking that it was out of anger. So I'm not sure. Amala out here saying, I was watching one of her videos today, and one of the people in the comments said the real Mamala, and I thought that was hilarious. But Amala says Kamala gets no fact checks. Kamala gets to speak for as long as she wants. Kamala gets softball questions with no pushback. That's another critique that I have. Like these moderators, if you could call them that, these journalists, if you could call them that, they were throwing the worst possible questions at Trump. In no way was this a fair debate. We need to bring back the debate commission, honestly. She goes on to say, Kamala gets handed every opportunity to attack her opponent. This is rigged. Do you think so? Let me know in the comments what you think about this. If this was a rigged debate. I also really appreciated this creator's response here. It's about a minute long, but it is profound.
So you just watched the debate and you think Trump did awful, right? I know. Yeah. It's because you have about as much context as the squirrel from Ice Age has acorns. And I know it's hard for me to just tell y'all, go research it, because, like, where do you go? Who do you believe? What do you believe? Who do you listen to? It's hard. And, like, it's not hard to hear it and see it, you guys, okay? It takes a little bit of listening skills, a little bit of effort to remember. I write things down, and for you to care a lot more about facts and reality than you do about emotions and being taken care of. Let me just tell y'all right now, Kamala Harris's entire time on the debate stage tonight with Donald Trump was spent targeting and speaking to emotionally vulnerable, pathetic women. Her entire purpose tonight was to pull at the heartstrings of emotionally naive people because they are the easiest to manipulate. So you may think that Trump didn't look too good tonight, but to be honest, I don't think I'd look too good either if I had two paid-off biased moderators fighting against me as well as my lying opponent. And with the state of this country right now, I'm mad too.
Absolutely. There's going to be actually I think I'll just play this right now. But see, RFK Jr. talks about that Kamala Harris might have won the debate based on emotion, but President Trump won based on like actual substance. And I think that's the cold, hard truth. Because if someone who's not into or interested in politics, if someone just watches the debate, they're going to be like, oh my gosh, wait a second. Like the person who's getting fact checked, like the other person didn't get fact checked at all. If that person is just naive enough to believe that what's happening on the news is completely true, then unfortunately, yeah, it is going to look like Kamala has the upper hand. But watch Kennedy's response here. This is great.
I think that Vice President Harris clearly won the debate in terms of her delivery, her polish, her organization, and her preparation. I think on substance, President Trump wins in terms of his governance, but he didn't tell that story. In fact, the first question was an extraordinary lost opportunity because there's a question, and I think Doris pointed out that she never answered, which is, are Americans better 4 years later? And there's really no argument for saying that they are by all the indicia by which you measure social deterioration. We have doubled the inflation rate. The housing rates have doubled in the last 4 years. There's 15 million more people, Americans living in poverty. We have these enormous suicide rates, enormous overdose rates, and we're in 2 wars. And all of these things can be attributed to the poor leadership from the Biden.
Real quick, a lot of people who watch the channel, they are so disappointed because they're like, man, imagine if Kennedy would have won. Imagine if Kennedy were to be in the debate. Imagine how he would have performed. So real quick, I want you to comment and say, how do you think RFK Jr. would have actually done and performed in the debate? Personally, I have some questions just because, RFK Jr. under a time limit, I think he sometimes doesn't perform the best because, he speaks in paragraphs, and in debates you kind of need to speak in sentences. And that's why Kamala Harris came off so strong, because she's able to speak in one-liners that are so well rehearsed. And again, people who don't know her think they're just coming off very natural, but yeah, she speaks so well rehearsed and she knows the game. And it's unfortunate.
Harris' team. And that's the argument that he should have been making, but he got distracted. And I think it's unfortunate because I think he really had an airtight argument for his presidency, but he was not able
Wow.
to make that case to the American public.
But you know what? It's not over. All right. We still have another 2 months left. So who knows what's going to happen? Kamala Harris recently said that she's interested in debating again. And President Trump actually said something very, very hilarious here. Let me see if I could find it. Yeah, here it is. This is so funny. President Trump talking about if he would debate Kamala.
Well, when you don't win, it's like a fighter. When a fighter has a bad fight, gets knocked out, or loses the fight, the first thing he says is, "We want a rematch." So we won the debate according to every poll, every single poll. I think that are we going to do a rematch? I just don't know. We'll think about it. Would you still do the one?
Well, this is such a good segue into polls, right? What do polls say about what happened last night? So one of the first polls that I saw was actually done from C-SPAN on their official Twitter page. And the question was, who won the ABC News presidential debate? Kamala Harris, Donald Trump? You let me know in the comments, by the way. I actually have a similar poll running, and I'll show that later. But Kamala Harris, with this audience on this post, is sitting at 26.1%. Donald Trump sitting at 73.9%. So dramatic, right? This poll is still going on. It's been seen more than 1 million times. It has over 300,000 respondents, which is crazy. But if you were to go based on this alone, you would see 73%. That's crazy. That's great, right? But what's more important? Having, just one poll? No, we're going to look at a lot. This is even by the New York Times, and I love this title. Pundits say Harris won the debate. Undecided voters weren't so sure. So what else? What do they talk about? What are these people's critiques on Kamala Harris? Their critiques are, look at this. They also said that she did not seem much different from Mr. Biden, and they wanted change. And most of all, they wanted to hear and didn't was the fine print. Sorry, what they wanted to hear and didn't was the fine print. And again, Kamala Harris, like Kennedy just said, she did a great job of actually just speaking to people's, emotions and delivering these one-liners. But at the end of the day, she wasn't speaking about the actual policies that she would inject and how they would actually help the American people. Another undecided voter said Trump had a more commanding presentation. Mr. Henderson said, there was nothing done by Harris that made me think she was better in any way. Wow. What do you think? Do you agree? Disagree? You let me know. The other poll that I'm running on my channel right now is the very similar question. Who won the September 10th presidential debate? Trump or Kamala? Right now, it looks like it's very, very similar to what we saw on C-SPAN. 73 are saying Trump, 26 are saying Kamala. And on mine, it's 76 are saying Trump, 24 are saying Kamala. This could change, by the way. At the time that I originally shared this screen, it was 429 votes. Let's see where it's at right now. 429. And now it is at 648. And so it looks like Trump's position actually decreased. He is now at 75%. Kamala Harris is at 25%. Also, this says a lot, right? Just because Kamala Harris was wildly unpopular with my audience on this particular page, because again, I'm never going to say that I'm unbiased or that my audience is unbiased. They have their preferences, and so do I. So for Kamala Harris to get 25% is actually really high for this audience. A lot of people were disappointed with President Trump, and a lot of people were surprised with Kamala Harris. And it looks like a lot of those people were undecided voters. Speaking of undecided voters, look at this clip from CNN. The title this is from Bridget Gabrielle. The title is CNN. What did you see that brought you to a conclusion? Undecided voter. When facts come to facts, my life was better when Trump was in office.
Or who we
Check
want
this
in our
out.
wedding party.
What did you see that brought you to a conclusion?
I think it's important to remember that we are voting for the leader of our country and not who we like the most or who we want in our wedding party, but
Wow.
who is actually going to make our country better. And we're in an incredibly unique situation where we've had both of the candidates in office before, and we've gotten to see what they would do. And when facts come to facts, my life was better when Trump was in office. The economy was higher, inflation was lower, things were better overall. And now with Kamala's administration, things haven't been so fantastic. And she's saying she can fix the problems that her administration has caused, but I just don't know if I can afford to take that risk.
Were you?
Wow. I don't know if I could afford to take that risk from an undecided voter. And again, I think that's a great way of analyzing the situation. Oh, this was seen more than 5 million times. That is crazy. But again, I think that's such a great way to analyze the situation right now. We've had 4 years of Biden. Before that, we had 4 years of Trump. You could actually assess personally. If you started thriving under the Biden administration, by all means, vote for Biden 2.0, vote for Kamala Harris, continue on with the Biden-Harris administration. But if you're looking back on the last 8 years of your life, and if you could say with a fair amount of certainty that, you know what, my life was actually better under Trump, I think that could help you make a more informed decision. Now, other things that were spoken today. This was shared by the Trump War Room, so you already know what's happening. But this speaks to where voters are, because Kamala Harris again didn't do that great of a job of sharing exactly where she stands.
Vice President Kamala Harris did not do a great job today really explaining her policy shifts, right? And that is what they have been seizing on. They're really trying to define her for voters when voters have a lot of questions about her policy positions.
Exactly. Like what we saw on the New York Times, people were saying that she didn't do a good enough job. Like she didn't distinguish herself as different from Biden. She didn't distinguish herself as any better. So now, like, what happened? And it looks like that's kind of a general theme. People who were kind of for Kamala are still for Kamala. People who are for Trump are still for Trump. But people who are undecided, the independents, the moderates, I believe those people are still unsatisfied, which is unfortunate. And look at this poll. I think this is fascinating. This was from CNN. The question was, who would handle the economy better? And look at this. Before the debate, Kamala Harris was at 37% and President Trump was at 53%. After the debate, Kamala Harris is at 35% and Donald Trump is at 55%. So it looks like people, in terms of the economy, they still think before and after that President Trump would just do a better job, and they think that Kamala Harris is actually, they think less of her, apparently, which is really interesting. Also, one of the last things that I'd like to share is I developed these 3 questions, and I want to develop more of these, but I kind of wanted to create 3 questions that would help people define who they want to consider voting for in this upcoming election. And the 3 questions were, so if you want to go ahead and vote for this on Twitter, go ahead, follow me on X, it's, Adam C. Moreno. But my 3 questions were, 1, which candidate do you believe is the best expression of your priorities for the next 4 years? Think about it. Okay. Question number 2 was, who do you trust to steer the country in the direction you believe it should go? Okay. Question 3, who do you imagine leading the progress that matters the most to you? I think these are all great and valid questions. So if you're someone who is sitting on the fence, which I think is a lot of people who watch this channel, I encourage you to think about these questions and maybe share if you want to if you want to put your opinion on this poll, go for it. It looks like right now there's 22 votes. I believe this is already updated, but yeah, 22 votes. And let me see. I want to make sure I'm not missing anything. We are coming towards the end of this video already. Oh, this is another thing that happened today. Last night during the debate, President Trump shared, let me tell you a secret. He hates her, speaking about Joe Biden and referencing Kamala Harris. And today, Joe Biden was seen wearing a Trump 2024 hat. This was so surprising. Again, President Biden, he put on the hat kind of as a joke, and he took it off no more than 3 seconds later, but not without people taking all the pictures of him. And this is just incredibly ironic. And I don't know, also speaking to maybe like why would he put it on? Why would President Biden wear the opposing candidate's hat after he has already endorsed Kamala Harris? Is that a reflection of how President Biden is feeling about Kamala Harris's performance? I don't know. I don't know. Another thing that I think is that I've been questioning is actually before then. Let me share these. I saw these pictures by SKS Cartoon. They make these drawings, and I think they're so funny. Look at this. President Trump saying no tax on tips. Kamala saying, I vote for me. I would do that too. Right? They're saying, you're the VP right now. Why don't you do it now? Great question. Great question. And they also shared this photo saying the debate in a nutshell. Look at this. President Trump arguing with both of the moderators going back and forth. You see them say, excuse me. They look to the side and it's Kamala. Do you still need me here? This is just very reflective of how people are experiencing this debate, because the moderators played a significant role, as we've discussed, and it looks like there's no question that they were biased. Wow. And I believe that's all. There was one other thing that I wanted to share, but for some reason I'm not able to find it right now. So I think that's going to conclude this video. But yeah, let me know what you think about this. Let me know what your honest thoughts are of the debate. Are you satisfied? Are you one of the people who I believe represent the majority who are still kind of in the middle? They're moderates and they're a bit unsatisfied with both sides. You let me know. Or maybe you thought Trump absolutely killed it compared to how anyone else would have performed in a 3 versus 1 environment. Maybe that's you. Or maybe you were actually really surprised by how well Kamala performed last night, because again, she hasn't taken interviews besides one, and she hasn't spoken to the press, and she's been, pretty much in her little cave preparing for this debate, and I think she came out strong. I really do. Even RFK Jr. said that he was pretty much surprised because she won she was saying that she won on that kind of emotional level. But you let me know. Okay. Also, I encourage everyone to go to my X/TikTok account and maybe answer this question. Or if you're already on YouTube, go here, right? And let me know what you think here, right? Who won the September 10th presidential debate? I like doing these polls on Twitter as well as YouTube, just because I think it's really fun, and it actually helps bring the audience into it. One of the top comments here says, I can tell you who didn't win: the American people. And I said what I said in the beginning of this video, primarily because of this comment. So yeah, I love looking at people's reactions and responses here. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. As always, I appreciate your time so much, and let me know what you think. How has this affected you? And yeah, okay. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great day, and I will see you all next time. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching and listening. I appreciate your time so much, and I really hope you enjoyed this episode. If you'd like to support what we're building here, please like and subscribe. It means a lot and it really helps us out. And if you want to see even more content from me, make sure to follow me on Instagram. I'm going to be sharing a lot more on there. Thank you so much. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.